Khulu, am I correct? Is it 4.7% or in line with inflation, which fell to 4.4% now as we read?
It's 4.4%. So basically, if we were to be pedantic about it, it's actually a 100% increase, in a sense that we were previously offering or putting on the table 0%, but now obviously we have moved quite drastically from 0 to 4.7%. But the discussions are ongoing. So the unions yesterday said they were going back to their members to get a fresh mandate, whether to accept or not. But today is day 2 of 3 days of the discussions. Tomorrow will be the last day. Between today and tomorrow, hopefully, we are going to reach a settlement.
But I understand that unions are not too happy with this offer, not necessarily because of the inflation-related aspect of it, but this is a deal that you want to put in place for the next 4 years.
Yes, from our end, because of our financial difficulties, we were asking for them to be, if possible at all, be flexible around this matter while we are improving our bottom line. So we're saying we would like to have a 4% increase, salary increase spread over a period of 4 years. But obviously, because discussions are or negotiations are a give and take, that's our offer on the table. We'll continue to see how we can adjust going forward. Obviously, they are unhappy about the fact that we also are saying other things like or the demands that they put on place, like the money that we need to pay in terms of housing allowance and things like that. We are saying we should freeze those. Currently, we are paying about 3,000 rand. They are demanding 7,000. We are saying because of the financial difficulties that we are experiencing, some of these things, maybe we agree in principle that we can make adjustments, but currently the situation doesn't allow. So if we can just adjust the salaries, and then the other things will follow later on. But yeah, we're still in discussions.
Let's talk about this 100% increase that you've technically given to the workers. People are asking, where's this money coming from? Because just last week, Eskom said that it had no money at all to grant any form of increase.
Well, our shareholder, which is the Department of Public Enterprises, on behalf of government, has said to us that we can adjust our offer going upwards. So essentially what management had done over the weekend was basically to see where within our operating expenditure we can sort of cut a lot of fat that is there and take that some of that money into the salaries so that we can appease our workers.
So where's that fat being cut? Because you did mention that the housing allowance would now be a little bit less for workers. So is that one of the elements that are, taking a cut? And where else are you trying to save costs?
All right. Well, on the housing one, maybe let me just clarify that we currently are offering 3,000 rand, sure. Or that's what the workers are getting, but they want 7,000. So we're saying for that one, let's just freeze it, remain as 3,000 until the situation improves. Then we can see what we can do. But in terms of where the cut is going to come from, in some of our operations, actually, we like on our capital expenditure program, on average, we spend 65 billion rand on Medupi and Kusile, each one of them. So we are saying we can trim in the operations of those power stations in terms of how much we spend proactively building those power stations. So we are going to reduce over the next 5 years 10 billion rand from that capex of 60 billion rand. And then we also are looking into renegotiating some of the coal contracts. So as we whittle down on some of these prices that we are paying on some of these projects, that money will help in terms of enabling Eskom to pay these monies. And
in terms of jobs, so what are the numbers there? How much are you cutting back?
Well, the jobs so far have not been put on the table because we want to, as opposed as some people would say, when you eat hot porridge, you start in the outskirts of it. Don't go right into the middle, otherwise it's going to be very difficult for you. So job cuts are not part of the issues that we are dealing with at the moment. We are dealing with the situation of people demanding salary adjustments, and once we have dealt with that one, then we'll see other things. But what management has said is that instead of cutting jobs, we would rather see what is it that we can do to improve our net profits so that when the revenue is in a better position, you might still continue to have the numbers that you have, although it's not ideal, I suppose, but you can still continue to operate. If your productivity improves and your sales improves, plus also your net profit, then maybe you can manage to continue to have these numbers. But the Minister of Public Enterprises, Pravin Gordhan, also mentioned that Eskom's top senior management is top heavy. Something needs to be done there. So clearly management, they are not doing their a business plan, which is going to be finalized in September. Maybe once that plan is finalized, it will instruct or give some kind of a direction as to how the structure of that organization should be.
Okay, that sounds fair, because you know, generally when there's always job losses, it always is at the bottom. So it sounds fair that you're looking at the top structures as well. A quick one, you say it's a 3-day wage discussions. So what's the situation with load shedding as you still try to conclude the finer details?
Well, we have indicated that for the next 10 days, which is up to sometime, maybe say Wednesday next week, the power system will remain very vulnerable as we are trying to mop up some of the things that had happened last week. So right now as I speak to you, I've received a call from our national control. They are saying to me that we are not looking good for this evening. If we do not get some of our big generators back online, we are likely to have load shedding this evening, I'm afraid.
Parting question, SACA is taking action against one of your former bosses, Anoj Singh, for misconduct. Some say it's too little too late. How are you feeling about that situation?
Well, maybe from our side, as you correctly mentioned, he's no longer part of our employees, but in terms of the principle of dealing with people who are violating I would say the conditions of them belonging to a certain organization, clearly organizations have to take steps there. And from our side, let me also conclude by saying that the SIU, the Special Investigating Unit, is generally looking into many of these violations that happen within Eskom, and so maybe it will be a double whammy for him with his body that where he belongs is dealing with it, but also at a police level, they too are also doing the investigation.